Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. For today's video, we have a very confusing topic that doesn't sound real, but is. Cigarettes apparently are better for the environment than electric vehicles. What? That sounds weird, right? Sounds weird to me. And apparently cigarette companies have better social and governance policies than EV manufacturers. Just very confusing video, I get it. But bear with me because I think the result of what you're going to see here is not only confusing, but I think quite opening about what might be going on in the world a little bit. So yeah, I'm just completely mind blown when I found this out myself. The two things that are linked directly to this are S&P Global and ESG. We'll start with S&P Global and walk you through what that is. If you go to their website, they have these awesome banners, kind of word salad thing. We accelerate progress. Our world is in transition and getting more complex by the day. We push past expected observations and seek out new levels of understanding so that we can help companies, governments, and individuals make an impact on tomorrow. What does that mean? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I dug a little bit further on their website and they had something a little bit more easy to read and understandable. At S&P Global, we focus on powering the markets of the future. Throughout our history, the world's leading organizations have relied on us for the essential intelligence they need to make confident decisions about the road ahead. And still pretty dubious, not really sure what's going on here. So I went to Wikipedia because Wikipedia has all the right answers. Michael Scott knows this from The Office, obviously. So S&P Global, what it is, it's basically a business firm that encapsulates other business firms, but really their core job is to provide financial information and analytics to people to make the right decisions. It is the parent company of S&P Ratings, and S&P Ratings you're probably more familiar with. What S&P Ratings is, they're an American credit rating agency and a division of S&P Global that publishes financial research and analysis on stocks, bonds, and commodities. And S&P is considered the largest of the big three credit rating agencies, which include Moody's and Fitch, which I'm guessing you've probably heard of. S&P, Moody's, Fitch. Basically, what S&P Global is the parent company of S&P Ratings, and S&P Ratings, this company decides how investable an asset is by giving it a credit score or something that says, hey, this is super investable or not very investable. It's like a credit score, but for businesses. Credit Karma, I think your bank app can do that now. You know, your credit is 820 or 550, right? It's like that, but for businesses, not for people. So that's S&P Global. That's what they do. And they have this thing called an ESG score. And ESG is something that has really caught the world by storm as of late. I'll tell you a little bit about what ESG is and what it stands for. So ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. 3 words, don't really mean too much as they stand, but when we give a little bit more context, you kind of understand what ESG actually stands for. So the E stands for environmental, and this is data that's reported on climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, pollution mitigation, energy efficiency, so on and so forth. Social, which is the S in ESG, that is data that's reported on employee safety and health, working conditions, conflicts and humanitarian crises, equity, inclusion, risk and return assessment through results in enhancing customer satisfaction and employee engagement. Who knows what that means, but it sounds important. And the G, which stands for governance, it's a score on how good a company is at preventing bribery, corruption, how diverse their board of directors is, executive compensation, cybersecurity, so on and so forth. As it relates to S&P Global and how they track ESG, here's a snip from their website. Finding new ways to measure ESG, analyzing energy transition across the supply chain, building workflow solutions that make it easy to tap into insight and apply it. We're changing the way people see things and empowering them to make an impact on the world we live in. And so to summarize, ESG is basically a way to score how responsible a company is as it relates to its customers, its workers, the environment, how much equity and equality and all this stuff they have. Basically a score of how good the company is for society, or at least an attempt to score that company. So this is where it gets extremely freaking weird. And this is really the concept of this video. I want to do a quick comparison. And I want to compare the S&P Global ESG scores of 2 companies. We'll start with one that I'm very familiar with, and a lot of people that watch this channel closely are familiar with. This company is Tesla. If you're not familiar with Tesla, they're basically an automaker. They make a bunch of electric cars. This is the Model Y, which I'll put up on the screen for you right now. They also make solar panels, solar roofs. They make batteries for your house where you can charge your car and your roof and become 100% energy independent. And in their About Us page, they have a mission statement that says accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, which sounds very, very green. They also say how, they have one mission and how much CO2, which is carbon dioxide, they've avoided from the atmosphere, right? So how much work they've done to be as green as humanly possible. So one would think Tesla is as green and socially conscious as one would think, right? ESG is really meant to score how green, socially acceptable, how good it is for the environment, just based on the definitions that we saw, how fair they are to their workers, how good they are for people and humanity and civilization, basically, right? And so you would think Tesla would score pretty highly, right? So here's where it gets a little weird. The score on its own is not necessarily a tip-off, but when you compare it to a different company is when it gets strange. So here's Tesla's ESG score from the S&P Global website. It's a score of 37 out of 100. Their environmental score is higher than the industry mean, which is 31. They scored 60. Their social impact, or social score rather, is lower than the mean. It's 20. The mean is 32. And their governance score is 34, with the industry mean being at 36. And their ESG score is 37 out of 100, which to me sounds like, okay, they're not the greatest. They're improving year over year. But S&P Global ESG score says, hey, Tesla, this super green company that's trying to move the world to a sustainable future, investing in batteries, electric vehicles, blah, 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 green stuff, right? You could do better. You could do better, Tesla. I'm like, okay, wow. Damn, these guys are super strict. Man, I really wish there were this many strict teachers or coaches or whatever out in the world. Great job, ESG. Really great job. And I said, okay, let's see. Let's look at some comparisons. But first, let's define the company that I'm going to compare Tesla to. And this company is Philip Morris. Now, before I tell you more about Philip Morris, I would love it if you throw me a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people. Thank you very much. But Philip Morris is an American multinational tobacco company. They make cigarettes. Their most famous product, Marlboro, which I can't even say correctly. And they're one of the big companies that comprise big tobacco, basically a giant cigarette making business. Now, if you're not familiar with cigarettes, which I highly doubt, cigarettes are known as one of the biggest killers in the world. I used to smoke cigarettes. A lot of people that I know used to smoke cigarettes. A lot of people that I know smoke cigarettes. And it seems like everyone is well aware of how bad it is for your health. Cigarette smoking in the United States is the leading cause of preventable death. About 480,000 people die in the United States each year. And here's how big of a killer it is. Smoking causes more deaths each year than the following causes combined: HIV, illegal drug use, alcohol use, motor vehicle injuries, and firearm-related incidents. So it's quite a big, dangerous, not very healthy, very bad thing for people, right? You would think cigarettes and cigarette companies, are kind of crappy when it comes to safeguarding civilization and humanity and the environment, which all of us are a part of, right? So cigarettes are bad for you. Cigarettes, I think we can all agree, are bad for you. We all enjoy them from time to time. Not all of us, but some of us, have a smoke and it feels great. But they're bad for you, and we all use them, I think, knowing that they're not good for us at the very least, right? What do you think their S&P Global ESG score is? Philip Morris, the makers of Marlboro, which I can't even say. What do you think their score is? I'll give you a second. All right?
1 hour later.
Okay. Are you ready? You sure? You ready for the score? 84. 84. Tesla, this super green company, makes batteries, EVs, solar panels. Their mission is to advance the world to a sustainable world. 37. I don't care about that score so much. The maker of cigarettes, of tobacco products, that's responsible in part for 480,000 deaths per year alone in the United States, the biggest killer of anything in the United States, has a much higher ESG score than a company like Tesla. What is that? What is that? Is killing people good now? Right? It's very strange. Really, really strange. I'm having a really tough time wrapping my head around this. Philip Morris scores higher across every metric, right? They have an 84 score. And in this case, Philip Morris has a higher environmental score, they have a higher social score, and they have a higher governance score than a company like Tesla. A company that's responsible, again, for a significant portion of the 480,000 deaths that happen in the US alone is a better steward of environmental, social, and governance policies than an EV company that's trying to move the world to a sustainable future. Forget Tesla, what they do as a company, but just think about that for a second. A cigarette maker is a better steward of our wants and needs than an EV manufacturer. Does that sound right to you? Is that something that makes sense to you? Just conceptually, we don't have to be geniuses, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I'm just asking a question. Here's some other weird things. General Motors, a company that makes gas vehicles predominantly, 69. Great number. Everyone loves the number 69. But in this case, a cigarette maker is a better steward of ESG policies than a gas car company. A cigarette maker is a significantly better steward of ESG policies than McDonald's. Everyone loves a Big Mac, right? Philip Morris, better steward. I don't know. Coca-Cola Company, the maker of the delicious, sugary drink that is Coke. 36. Cigarette company, better steward of ESG, of environmental, social, and governance policies. ExxonMobil, petroleum, oil. We all know about oil, right? 32. Philip Morris, the cigarette maker, is a better steward of our environment, of our social policies, and our governance policies than ExxonMobil. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking a question. I made this video because I'm really confused, okay? What happened? What happened, everybody? What happened? Of course, I said I'm asking a question, but I have my opinions, right? I think I might have an idea of what's going on, and I've been talking to a lot of people on my channel as I've been going on this YouTube journey to really understand many different things, but this one is just, it's really, really confusing. And so when I sat down with David, who's my media guy and my social guy, shout out David, he went into ChatGPT. He went into ChatGPT and asked it a question. Today, a cigarette company was given a higher ESG rating than Tesla. And we were trying to come up with good titles for the YouTube video so that it can be as catchy as possible, but not clickbait, just as catchy as possible. Here was ChatGPT's response. And this is not a joke. This is a legitimate response from ChatGPT. While I understand your concern about the ESG rating comparisons, it's important to approach the topic responsibly and accurately. It's not advisable to create a title that misrepresents the situation or spreads misinformation. Am I spreading misinformation? Is what I'm saying inaccurate? Is the question or the prompt that we used, right? Is that inaccurate in any way? I would love to hear your thoughts. Is ChatGPT right or wrong? AI safety, y'all. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. And so you might ask, the natural question is, what the hell is ESG? When did it start? Here's a little bit from Wikipedia. The term ESG was popularly used first in a 2004 report titled Who Cares Wins, which was a joint initiative of financial institutions at the invitation of UN, the United Nations. In less than 20 years, the ESG movement has grown from a corporate social responsibility initiative launched by the United Nations into a global phenomenon representing more than $30 trillion in assets under management. In the year 2019 alone, capital totaling US $17 billion flowed into ESG-linked products, an almost 525% increase from 2015. But here's something that's quite important. Critics claim ESG-linked products have not had and are unlikely to have the intended impact of raising the cost of capital for polluting firms and have accused the movement of greenwashing. And so what is greenwashing? Greenwashing is a form of advertising or marketing spin in which green PR and green marketing are deceptively used to persuade the public that an organization's products, aims, and policies are environmentally friendly. Here's what I think is happening. And I've molded this sort of opinion based on many conversations, but really the big one that I've had with the lovely Alexandra Mertz, who's been on my channel multiple times, really opened my eyes to some of the issues in respects to ESG and firms like S&P. It doesn't seem like this is about the environment or social policies or governance to try and make a better world. It seems like this is all about money. This is all about money. S&P Ratings, which is one of the companies that roll up into S&P Global, is directly responsible for the ease of access of capital for businesses. Those ratings that they give out, the investable grades that they give out, makes it easier or harder for a company to have access to loans, to funds, to investments, to people buying their stock, and God knows what other perks they might get from having a good credit score, especially as a business. And as the world transitions more and more to ESG, it seems like those that are willing to play ball around the system, in my opinion, are probably going to get more and more advantages as it relates to their ESG score. And I hate to say it this way, but playing ball in this case, getting on the same page as far as an ESG score goes, where a cigarette maker can have a better score than an EV automaker in this case, to me, it just seems like corruption. It seems like corruption. I could be wrong, right? I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, y'all, but it seems to me like something really weird is going on, to me. And so to end the video, I want to ask a question. I'd love to hear your take in the comment section below so we can all figure out what the hell is going on here. Is ESG a greenwashing scheme? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching.